Welcome to another commentary done by Diggity on behalf of StarCastTV. Upper left-hand corner, we have YamTube, aka Rush. He's going up against Action in the bottom right-hand corner as the Brown Zerg. This is going to be on Goodnight. Should be a solid one. I have to say I favor Rush overall. I am interested to see the combination of two things. First of all, Rush tends to be a very aggressive two barracks style player, but this is one on Goodnight and two cross position. So I'll be interested to see how he ends up playing his aggressive style versus Action in particular on this map. Looks like initial Overlord making its way top right. One thing with the cross position, I feel like Rush just finds ways to win by barreling troops forward and having just little positional plays where just absolutely abuses his opponents, where they think they've got enough lurkers to defend a ramp and all, and they're just slightly out of position and walks them right in and takes down that additional base. Or you had two sunken colonies on the front and you had a third one building, you thought you were okay. Just kidding. No, he just was able to focus fire everything down because your troops were just a little bit out of position. And behind that, he's got some really solid macro that can carry him into the late game. We'll see how Action does against him. Action's no slouch himself. Pretty solid Mutalisk style. Has some other interesting builds under his belt. Looks like he is going to open it up with an 11 hatch or 12 hatch. More times than not, though, I'm seeing Action just go for the standard meta. Although I think the last game I saw him play, and he did in fact go for 3 hatch, old school 3 hatch Mutalisk to start, which I have not seen in a while. And I don't mean like the 2.5, I mean like straight up 3 hatch Mutalisk. SV checking top right is not able to catch the eyes of that Overlord. But the Overlord does in fact see that SCV, and then we'll see if a drone scout makes its way top left to follow. Gas being taken a little bit late at the 215 mark. Spawning pool dropped as well. So a little bit, that will delay the Mutalisk's significant portion, and I'm wondering if that is going to... What I have seen a few players do here and there is to actually not opt to try to harass the Terran and grab a much earlier third and use the Mutalisks very, very defensively and try to punish any sort of movement out on the map as best they can. Drone versus SCV fight. Just try to sneak into the main. Not going to get the extractor timing, but is going to see that spawning pool finish. And could potentially get the layer timing. In the meantime, we do have that command center being constructed. A Marine way out there in front to engage any sort of drone that was making its way that direction. Layer morphing. I think Rush got an eye on that, so might just pull his SCV out at this stage of things. Drone's finally saturating that natural expansion. And it looks like it is going to be the 2 racks opener here. No gas as of yet. The gas is just now being grabbed for Rush. And yeah, Rush's stereotypical thing is apply pressure. Get the medics out there. Right now, going to take off towards the front with these 3 Marines to try to engage these Zerglings. Sending out another SCV along that corner. Actually surprised another SCV's moving out here, but these Zergling, one of them almost losing their life. The other one trailing back. And it looks like it is going to be a 2.5 hatch for Action. Dropping that hatchery interior to the base. SCV checking the drone saturation. Ramp now blockaded. Should draw the rest of those Zerglings back as well. Academy, about 5-6 finished. The Marines continue to filter out some nice saturation there on the natural expansion. And a second gas grab here from Action. So maybe wanting to go for a heavier Mutalisk mid-game, or recognizing perhaps off that 2.5 hatch he's going to need to build more lurkers, more units, more gas-heavy units in the mid-game to establish that third base and get his third gas up. SCV on retreat, trying to make its way out. Looks like the Zerglings have its number. Just kidding. There, got him. For a second there, I thought he was going to make it out alive. Medics in production. Now I'll be interested to see if at cross position, if Rush goes for it. So comsatting, did check the front, a single creep colony being built, and he is starting to move out with this. Zergling's trying to test that back edge. Spire just about finished. Yeah, they want to go for a run by. Looks like there are some Marines and SCVs along that corner. Forcing a stim right there. One Zergling paying for it with his life. And you can see the kind of scattering of troops across the artifact's middle, but still going to try to make a shot. And this is just rush. I think most players would not go this deep. They would draw back much more rapidly. Now seeing that second sunken colony, going to go ahead and finally draw back. But as long as there's only that single sunken colony down there, he almost still went for it. Turrets being built, and it's going to be a minute before actually going to peel off to make sure that there's no additional base. It's going to be a minute before these medic Marines are able to make it back to provide some support against the Mutalisks, although the Mutalisks coming out very, very delayed. In fact, I'll be surprised if they're even up there before 6:20. Yeah, just now starting to take flight across the map. First of all, you had a bit of that delayed gas, but secondarily, yeah, a bit of that movement. But maybe when they gather up because there's a loss of position of where the medic Marines were midfield. Range is going to be done, +1 weapons on the way. The range will definitely help in the effort to shut down that Mutalisk harassment. 4 turrets, really respecting Action's Mutalisk micro, perhaps respecting the map in this difficult position to defend. Decent amount of damage on 2 Mutalisks, but not enough to halt this assault. Some Marines peeling down. 2 SCVs at the very least taken out. 1 Mutalisk being peeled off. Another rejoining. Ooh, and the SCVs starting to travel along the wrong side of that mineral pile. And Action, as a result, he loses a Mutalisk, but able to get some additional SCV kills. Is he going for +1 weapons? Yeah, +1 weapons upgrading, also going for that +1 Carapace. Rush moving out in the field after a lot of the damage. It was perhaps feeling, okay, there's enough damage on those Mutalisks that I could potentially win a trade. And by moving out, I can draw them back and go ahead and get control back over the natural expansion. Starport being dropped, sticking on 3 barracks rather than 4 at this stage. +1 weapons, not that far from finishing. Still no third base as of yet. Hydrosten being dropped. And a Queen's Nest already, so Action staging up for third base up right in corner. So staging to make a quick transition. Marine is patrolling bottom left, so that does limit possibilities as far as where that additional base might be. Single Marine trying to walk out to that 3 o'clock, but pays for it with his life. I think that is worth some comsat overall. Action with a very healthy drone count. Second starport being dropped. And Rush now, as far as a follow-up, this could be a challenge. So it looks like that Marine repositioned from bottom left to the 6 o'clock location. I'm not sure if he's discovered the hatchery location top right or not. Large Mutalisk ball, +1 weapons as well. A few Zerglings out in the field. Want to go ahead and keep an eye on that army and blockade. Peel off as many individual Marines as possible. Single Marine now making its way, somehow is that the same Marine? This guy's a elite soldier here. Covert ops, I tell ya. Sneaking through that entire line and also able to get past overlords and everything else in between, and is going to be able to confirm that hatchery top right. So go figure. Some Hydralisks walking their way up, and I don't know that he's even been spotted yet. So now going to sit behind, so confirm the hatchery location. Is going to pocket himself in that top right-hand corner to be utilized later. Double starport, now some additional barracks being tacked on. Looks like some Zerglings taking care of that Marine. Man, he really served his commander well. Third base up, no additional gas. Hive is finished. Defiler Mound being dropped. +1 weapons is there from Rush, and it just feels like he's just a step off here and doesn't have it. But I've said this many, many times about Rush before, where I feel like he was out of position or just didn't have enough, and he still made it work. Mutalisk continuing to engage over that natural expansion. Getting some more SCV kills, but while they were away, Overlords are going to see that huge Medic Marine ball. Going to get a free Overlord at the very least. Lurkers on the ramp. There is a Science Vessel here. 1 Irradiate drops. But there are 3 Lurkers and these Mutalisks waiting. So that gas should be established. Nidus Canal being constructed. The Mutalisk peeling down. Let's see if Rush is able to barrel through this, which is the 2 Lurkers. Mutalisk continuing to try to harass this. No additional Irradiate as of yet. Some Firebats making their way this direction. And Rush now exiting top right, not feeling like he's got amazing timing, just that game sense. I tell you what, realizes the Nidus Canal's up, and that would be a reinforceable position now. Cycling the troops around, the Mutalisks are now at the 12 o'clock location, a little bit out of position to provide some assistance. Another Overlord taken out over that edge. He's done a fantastic job of keeping action in the dark. Now the Firebat's moving forward, and we'll see if we see a defense matrix run on the front. We've seen it many times before from Rush. This time pressing up, another Lurker gets taken out, but this, yeah, and still able to barrel forward, but losing so many Medic Marines, but able to breach. More Lurkers and Defilers now through that irradiate on the Defiler before it's able to drop a Darkstorm, but I don't know that it's got Consume as well. Mutalisk is engaging from the rear. So before, where that oftentimes has led to a hatchery kill or at least some economic disruption, this time not paying off for Rush. Mutalisk trying to cut off reinforcements, re-engaging some Marines that are not giving them breathing room. No Radiates have been expended on the Mutalisks at all, so they're going to go ahead and re-engage at that natural expansion, try to even things up a little bit economically. Finally an Irradiate. A nice split, though, from action overall. Still 6 Mutalisks, although one of them is heavily damaged. But that critical third gas is up. Plague is researching, so we're going to see a shift back to it looks like a Hydra Lurk Defiler style of play. Lurkers at a distance, top right. Rush again moving out. Has a healthy Science Vessel count now. Dropping as many Irradiates on those gas-heavy units as he can. Ultralisk Cavern being plopped down top right as well. Science Vessel making it slow traversal to bottom right to maybe provide some additional information right there. Macro Hatch being dropped. Looks like +1 Carapace just about to... Sorry, +2 Carapace just about to finish, which is going to make those Zerglings, particularly if they've got that Adrenal upgrade, all the more threatening. Looks like they do not have that Adrenal upgrade quite yet. And Rush going for another press. Top right. Science Vessel remains. That single Lurker going to be able to hold the line, however. There's another Lurker in position, but this is a very paltry defense. Top right, a Lurker with 10 health and not a lot else. Sing Marine trying to harass there. 6 o'clock location, not going to be long for life. Looks like a task force of Zerglings maybe want to make a shot at this potentially somewhat undefended natural expansion. Some more Lurkers being irradiated to the rear. The Mutalisk is still somehow alive. Shocks me at this stage. But there are a lot of Firebats, and there's that bunker right there waiting to absorb the Zerglings as they're approaching. Rush maybe comps out of that army because he's re-engaging, pulling that army back. Firebat's going to be able to maul that army. It looks like a Science Vessel did get wiped out. Rush going to go try to grab that third base. And OK Plague mostly catches the Firebats. And really, he wanted Science Vessels, or maybe even, it looks like he got a medic. And it might be worthwhile to actually split those Firebats away so they just don't end up with healing. Rush again moving top right, but a little bit too late to stop action from maybe grabbing his fourth gas. The Science Vessel's exposed on the front, so eating a good amount of Plague. However, Rush has been fantastic about landing just continuous irradiates out on the field. But we have a worker lead for action overall, close to a supply lead, which is scary. Mutalisk able to pick off, it looks like all three of those damaged Science Vessels before losing their life. And a single Lurker that's irradiated, slowly losing This is unusual for me to see from Rush, where he's playing a little bit more timid. +2 Carapace versus the +2 armor. We have that single fire bat able to work under that Darkstorm, now rushing through. This is the more stereotypical Rush I'm used to seeing. Swarming and going to be able to force a cancellation of that natural expansion hatchery in that top right. Gas being dropped. Lurkers swarming through, and Rush not liking what he sees, maybe because of that earlier repulsion, but at the very least able to keep that fourth gas, or that fourth gas out of Action's hands. Has his own base humming here at the mineral only. Still, the worker count dangerously high on Action side of the match. The supply count still sizably in Rush's favor. At the very least, he has been able to deny that fourth gas for quite some time. Needs to regrow that science vessel count, which after that last plague and assault, going to be able to run in, kill that drone before it's able to drop once again. Again, going to be able to breach. Single lurker right there, but the Darkstorm just now finishing. And this is just standard Rush things, like spreading out the Marines, finding that one gap. Unfortunately, that lurker, might have just wanted to attack, move that lurker. Maybe thought it was more there than natural. The Zergling's getting obliterated. First Ultralisk Scout does have the Carapace upgrade, but level 3 weapons is finished for these Medic Marines. Irradiate's being dropped on those Ultralisks. This will be enough to repel that army back down the ramp to the rest of this defense force. I don't know if Rush is going to be able to hold back the rest of this. Looks like the Ultralisks don't like what they see. Second Irradiate dropped. And now let's see if there's an eraser. Yeah, an eraser trick. Unfortunately, Science is getting wiped out by that Scourge. Medic Marines now peeling up. Going to be able to pick off the Ultralisk den. Eating a plague, but it doesn't matter. Another Ultralisk can just sneeze on these Medic Marines and wipe them out, but that's going to be the last Ultralisk for quite some time. And the Marines wisely moving to their rear lines. It looks like some nice Zergling defense, however, from Action, able to sneak in and just pick off those plagued units. So once again, Rush going to be escorted back down to the natural expansion. Doesn't have much of a Medic Marine army left. He still has a healthy Science Vessel count, and critically was able to take down that Ultralisk Cavern. We have one healthy Ultralisk out on the field. Ultralisk Cavern being redropped there at the natural. 6 o'clock base is now up for Action. It looks like that is going to in fact be his fourth gas. But a sneaky command center being built at the 9 o'clock location, potentially for Rush to continue this. So he's done a great job of denying that base, of running up assaulting. I don't know that he's gotten a lot of drone counts. Unfortunately, now going for the eraser trick with the lack of Scourge. Drone scattering, another Irradiate on the Defiler, and the Defiler doing work for the Science Vessels before dying and heavily damaging those drones. It looks like a Medic Marine army has peeled through to attack the 6 o'clock, checking the 3 o'clock as well. Now going to back out. So yet another dead base. Ultralisk looks like it might be able to clean this up with the rest of the Marines. Nidus Canal being dropped defensively. Factory still spotting up ahead, wanting to see if this is an assaultable base. Especially with that Ultralisk. I think that's that one remaining Ultralisk. Ultralisk Cavern redropped, but will it be sufficient? More eraser trick, and again, that latent Defiler earlier, making Rush's work easy. So this base now non-functional for Action, which turns the tide of battle to Rush's favor. And let's see if he, gonna call GG right there, recognizing that this base is completely breached, denied that third gas. 6 o'clock was having troubles, and Rush just had too large an army out on the field. I tell you what, Rush, just incredible. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Give a like and subscribe, support StarCastTV. Thank you for listening.